Hello everyone, Blue Star Saber here, once again to discuss another One Piece chapter review, chapter 1000 and let's see, 53. Let's see, also known as the New Emperors, where we finally have caught up with the manga after being delayed for so many weeks. But given the fact that 1054 is coming and the fact that the final saga is just about to begin. Now, just a few more chapters of Wano left off. Might as well just catch up and all that stuff. But yeah, and review the chapter that left people discussing One Piece for 4 weeks of what it entails. But yeah, before we begin, I guess let's see. I'll just get into the cover, the cover page for this time, a double spread in which it's a tie-in to the One Piece Odyssey as we see Luffy, Chopper, Usopp, and Nami from the new main female lead of the game and the male lead with the silver-haired dude with a gun. I'm not sure if he's from what I can tell, he seems to be an ally, though he could be an enemy in the future. In which they're riding a bunch of beasts which appear to be in the game, particularly looks like a crab, some sort of furry green creature. I'm not sure what it is. A penguin. Well, the blue gorilla guards from Imperial Down, a bat, some sort of lizard dragon thing, a sort of red-faced lion, a scorpion, possibly one from Imperial Down, some sort of panda creature, and a dugong from Alabasta. Not sure if it's the same one that Luffy has fought, but who knows. It's a nice cover spread, and it ties into the game and all that stuff. And I do find interesting how it emphasizes the main female character from the game, front and center, in which she's no doubt going to play a huge role in the thing. In many ways, it might be similar to like World Seeker in that regards. But then again, I haven't played that game in a while, so yeah. Anyway, on to the chapter. We start with where at Mary Jost with the Holy Land of the world government, where the 5 elders are complaining about a certain picture doing in the newspaper and the bounty posters. And they're telling them that, as they've said, they have not approved of this, and they also wanted to remove the D in the name as well, as it's clear that they're talking about Luffy's new bounty and all that stuff. With the Marine officer saying he's never had any details of this kind of reports to the 5 elders. And apparently that photo came straight from Guranaki from CP0. And we finally got the confirmation of the remaining CP0 agent's name. So we finally got the confirmation of that last CP0's name, and that was in Wano at the raid and all that stuff. With the big mustache member of the 5 elders telling them to reprint it and not let this picture go out to the world. With them saying that they cannot get in touch with the printing factory as we see Luffy's bounty posters being printed. Let's see, as they can hear the voice of someone say, "Stop the presses at once." However, we see Big News Morgan, who is clearly excited about the mystical form that Luffy currently has, telling the cuckoo birds to spread this far and wide and all that stuff. As he confirms that the last message that was sent out by Cypher Paul was... Let's see, before it interrupted, turns out that they were intercepted by none other than the Big Mom's pirate ship, in other words, the Big Mom pirates that were down below once Marco kicked them and all that stuff. As he declares that he won't let the world government manipulate this narrative as the straight out truth this time is just so fascinating that he cannot resist giving it out to the press and all that stuff. Let's see, it's nothing like a good old entertainment or a good news story. As we end up seeing that as the narration goes about how the defeat of 2 Yorkos at one night has shocked the world, as they have brewed for decades, as we see 2 pairs of people being shocked. One of them having a picture of Sabo there, but we'll get more into that later. As it's revealed that The three captains behind, whoops. The three captains that are behind the defeats, Luffy, Law, and Kid, have all risen to a bounty of 3 billion, and they've all got new picks with like one of just Kid smiling with his claw thing, one of Law, I think, grinning, just being serious in the fight, probably when he was against Big Mom. Well, at least I think Kid and Law have new picks, but Luffy definitely has a new one as his Gear 5 with him laughing and smiling and all that stuff has been shown to the world and all that stuff with this picture and all that stuff. And we see the crewmates of both Kid and Law being excited the fact that their captains have 3 billions and all that stuff. With Paul wondering where Kid has gone, as he seems to be not in some kind of state, though Killer reveals that he's probably gone to the capital, and he knows, and he's not surprised by how he's reacting, and all that stuff. As the rest of the Kid and Law pirates wanting to go to celebrate the party and all that stuff. With Law commenting that this is going to end up being trouble. As we then cut to a chef that appears to be at the palace for Wano and all that stuff, preparing a meal for the shogun and all his friends and guests and all that stuff. Doing fancy food such as with a mushroom or something, some tofu eggs and all that stuff, lotus rice and all that stuff. And they're making sure that he's checking that everything is treated with care and making sure that they are checked for poison for like 3 times and all that stuff. As he then announces that he's proud to announce, to the guests and all that stuff, a traditional Hosen Ryu meal, apparently something that's worthy of a shogun. As he then slides in saying, "Please do enjoy," but as the silence and the whole room is empty, except for one person, Jinbei, who tells him that they couldn't wait 2 hours for the meal, so they're going to enjoy the festival, but he thanks him for the meal and notices the K put into it and all that stuff. There does comment that it's really noisy outside, as we can hear shouting about how everything's free today and all that stuff. Such as the games like shooting games, goldfish scoops, and Choco Bananas, as we see Luffy, Chopper, and Yamato running about with kids, enjoying, grilled squid candy apple, and some other, fun meals like cotton candy, which you can see the love eyes in Chopper. And even Yamato, who has never had this much fun in her life before, she's probably she's never been to a festival. Meanwhile, Brock is playing music with Hiyori as she's announcing that she's playing a song that her father loves, Moon Princess, as she's winking to the crowd, and they love it. Meanwhile, beneath the castle, Robin is looking at a doll collection in which Tenga says that her name and that the collection is his, with Robin being surprised about him knowing the name. He's wondering, as he calls it, his Kyoshi doll collection, wondering if not Robin thinks they're cute, but she doesn't, which hurts Tenga a bit, but she asks why the collection is here, as he says it's a hobby, and that he was imprisoned here for several years. Robin, confused by this, since he thought that Tengu is just nothing but a blacksmith. However, says that while smithing is a skill he's managed to forge and all that stuff, it was only to make swords, it was only for fun, but it's a side thing, because, ruling a kingdom it's a very hard feat and can be tiring and all that stuff. Much to Robin's confusion, as he ends up then taking off his mask and all that stuff, revealing himself as none other than Kosuke Sayoku, former shogun of Wano, and the father of Odin. With Robin being shocked by this, Len asks, wait, does Momonosuke know about this and all that stuff? And he does not, and let's see, Sayukiya reveals that he has no intention of telling him, even though he suspects the vassals might be aware of this. But given the fact that he allowed Orochi to seize control of Wano, he feels like he can never show his face in public again after this, after he survived and all that stuff. And we revealed that the reason revealed that when he did finally escape his prison, Odin had already died, and that Wano had become into such a state that he could do nothing to help it. And then see the toxic wasteland that it became, which he mentioned how he thought of committing seppuku on the spot right there. Before he goes on about his failures and all that stuff, Robin ends up asking that she is certain that in this country is the ancient weapon Pluton, and that the Poneglyph in Alabasta revealed that the weapon was not in Alabasta, but here in Wano, and with him confirming that that is the case. Anyway, we cut to the former excavation camp in Undon, in which we see that the entire wasteland has become an entirely new grown forest and all that stuff. As we see members of the Beast Pirates being beaten by plants and having their life force sucked of them, including Baku, the warden of here. With a Beast Pirate commenting that King seems to be being defeated and also getting this life force sucked. And also Queen, who says like, no! I'm supposed to be the guy that stays big and muscly and all that stuff. Becoming the skinny form in which Oda once showed in an SBSO and all that stuff. However, the figure that tells them not to is none other than Marine Admiral Ryuka and all that stuff. Telling them that don't go complaining as a guy in his position can't be defeated by lackeys or subordinates of a pirate crew and all that stuff. And saying how the Navy doesn't have any manpower to spare, cleaning up the mess that these pirates have done and all that stuff, as we see him finishing off Queen and having one of his plant things suck booze out of a barrel and all that stuff. As we finally get a full glimpse of what Navy Admiral Ryuku also named Akamaki is. We get his full appearance, in which he comments about how this booze tastes like terrible and it needed more time to age, as he is shirtless with a sword throughout his belt, and apparently the same type of sword that Sasuke has, wearing glasses and a cigarette, and all that stuff, though he does remove them for a bit. A tattoo that says double suicide at Death River. As we see from his fingers, plant-like plant things growing out of them, like vines and all that stuff. All that stuff to describe his appearance. As he looks like a sort of Yakuza punk, although I have seen some people compare him to looking like Chad a bit. From Bleach. Where the Denden Mushi finally rings, he answers it, telling him that, yeah, he's in Wano, telling him to send a battleship. The person realizes that it's Admiral Ryuku and all that stuff, and telling him not to screw this to, Sakazuki or, Akayuna, if you will. And he comments about how he likes the guy's no-cut corners attitude. And he wants to hear him say about how he did a good job and all that stuff when he brings Luffy's head, as he's got Luffy's now current wanted poster. Anyway, we cut towards the flower capital, where Luffy is announcing to everyone how the Ninja Pirate Mink Samurai Alliance And everyone that's fought, such as the royal servants, Yakuza, and members of the Land of Wano and all that stuff, saying how they all fought hard and it's time to celebrate, with people like wondering who he is, but others saying like, just spirit out, as he's like clearly a pro at this and the lead toaster in this party and all that stuff, as we get a bit of a flashback of Momo thinking about when Luffy told him that to tell the citizens of Wano not to say that he's the one that not to tell Wano about him, especially him being the defeated, the one that beat Kaido, with him wondering why, but Luffy saying because he doesn't really want to be a hero. Meanwhile, Kid angry charges at Straw Hat, declaring he'll get rid of him and all that stuff, with Luffy just being excited that Jackie is here, as he ends up as the people of Wano are about to, some people of Wano are about to shoot cannons of fireworks into the sky, as Luffy just declares, in celebration of tomorrow's meal, here goes, and declares a Kampai as he uses his arm to stretch out to grab Kid's neck. As we see everyone doing a toast to the Kampai, as Luffy and Kid are dancing in the air. Well, let's see, mainly Luffy and just Kid by force, as the fireworks finally explode. As Luffy declares this a toast and all that stuff, as we see quite a few samurai from the raid and just regular citizens of Wano there. Then we cut to a panel of like Nami, Sanji, and Shinobu celebrating. So Usopp and Frankie and Denjiro, Kikoku and Raizo, who is crying with Otoku. Many of the minks celebrating there, such as Dog, Stormcat, Viper, the Musketeers, the Guardians, the Monkey, Wanda, and of course Carrot. And the Yakuza with Hiyori and all that stuff. And also we see a silent panel with like Kimio with his wife, and Tama and the Beast Pirates that Smile uses that she won over with her Dango, Speed, Hamlet, and Barkus and her dog. And we see of course on the next page Law's pirate crew celebrating with Beppo and Frant, as well as then Kids with Killer in the front there, with Kid telling Straw Hat to get off him and all that stuff. As he shows him to look at this newspaper article, how he came to eliminate him. As he has no idea what's going on outside the New World, as Luffy looks on, shocked with the sort of cartoon eyes that he does with Gear 5 now. As he says as Kid tells him that these four figures are now who they're calling the four emperors, which is, of course, Redhead Shanks, Blackbeard, Luffy, and probably the biggest shock of all, Buggy, much to Luffy's shock about him and Buggy being declared emperors. While we see Ryuku, hearing about the party they're going in and all that stuff. Though he's annoyed because as he's walking towards with plant life growing around him, clearing the terrain and the dead wasteland of the Beast Pirates' damage and all that stuff. It declares that the Navy isn't any mood to celebrate, given how the whole world's a mess right now because of these kids, ending the chapter. First off, where to begin? Okay, I gotta really slow down on these summaries, I will admit. But anyway, first off things first, we end up with my thoughts on the thing is the fact that I do like how we see that at this point the world government's like, after probably long overdue perhaps incompetence on their part, is like, okay, the world government was finally planning to remove the D in Monkey D. Luffy's name, even though Monkey Luffy just sounds weird. Or let's see, though, granted, I don't know why they just go like Straw Hat Luffy and just remove the monkey bit, but at this point, let's see, the elders have demanded that the D in the name has been removed, and the fact that they don't want the picture of, Luffy's awakened form shown to the public, but due to some, miserrant communication with the Navy officer, who sent probably to end up, to the Navy, who probably sent the picture of, Luffy's new mist form and all that stuff, which I find it glad that we got the name of the CP0 agent, Yurinkia, and all that stuff. They accidentally sent it to the press, and they don't want it because due to this mystifying form, more people will be curious about it, and not to mention the D thing, people really they don't really want people to start questioning this fruit's form, and, the will of D, and start trying to put pieces together, and all that stuff. Doesn't probably help the fact that there's also, that now that we have two Yonko with the, will of D now, and all that stuff. And the fact that there's also Monkey D. Garp and all that stuff, and maybe any other figure that might name D that might be known to the public, but really it's only really as far as I can tell: Garp, Dragon, Luffy, and Law. Oh, and Ace. Now, interesting. It seems that even though they're trying to get in touch with the press and counter the thing, Morgans is having none of it, and for the journalist who says he might sometimes blow things out of proportion when the truth is this exciting, he's got to tell the news. In many ways, you think Morgan would be a standard journalist, but clearly, right now he's the biggest conveyor of truth right now, and he's doing so with showing the world Luffy's new form, which he finds exciting and all that stuff, and won't let the world government's propaganda get in the way. So you gotta give him respect to that. Despite how much trouble he'll probably get in with the world government, he'll spread this news and all that stuff far and wide. And it's interesting how we've got two panels of just the world reacting, which usually I think normally does a few more panels, though, at least like he did last time with back when Luffy was being declared as the unofficial 5th Emperor by Morgans and all that stuff after beating Katakuri. And then again, there's a lot more news to cover then, such as Luffy's fleet and all that stuff, and not to mention having some of Luffy's friends react to the news, such as Vivi and Dalton and Kurenai and all that stuff. So, Kurenai, sorry if I mispronounced the name wrong and all that stuff, though. This time, it's just 2 panels, though. One panel, as a note, but you mostly see the citizens being shocked by the news, because, no one ever expected 2 Yonko who've ruled for decades being beaten in just one night. But one noticing image and all that stuff is the fact that there's a big footy image of Sabo in one of the backgrounds. So it's led to questions about that, whether or not some are wondering, is this like a picture being a memorial to him because he might have just been the one that was killed, apparently, or did something happen to him and all that stuff? Maybe it's a giant wanted poster for a crime that he's done, or is it like an area that the Revolutionary Army has helped? But either way, this is perhaps Oda's first hint that something major has happened to Sabo, and that we're probably going to get news of it soon. But the main piece of news that has probably shocked everyone is one of the 2 bits that probably caused the most controversy in this chapter, or at least debates, if you will. It's, of course, the fact that Luffy, the Kid, and Law have all gotten the same bounty of 3 billion and all that stuff, which has caused a bit of controversy because this is the first time Luffy has gotten a bounty lower than the opponent he's defeated. And for some, probably the fact that he's tied with Kid and Law for a bounty and all that stuff. Though some comments about now that Kid has had the highest bounty increase of all time, going from 470 million to 3 billion, so gotten an extra 2 billion with 230 million. Now I can see how this bounty kind of makes sense, as they each got 3 billion and adds up to a total of 9 billion, which I think is just 1 million or so more than the combined share of Kaido and Big Mums, as I think they made 8.9999 billion, etc., and all that stuff with their combined bounty. With these three together combined to make 9 billion. Granted, I know some wanted Luffy to, like, you know, be something like at least 3.5 billion, just slightly higher than Kid and Laws. I particularly was expecting Luffy's bounty to be at least 4 billion, but heck, it is what it is. But and I don't mind the thing, and I do kind of like how this keeps up with the rivalry between the three, and how this all supposed to be equal status and all that stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised if the world government tried to say make them all some equal to try not make Luffy stand out even more. And it's just more of an equal effort thing, but of course due to the miscommunication with, like, let's see, the D and the picture, let's see, Luffy will probably still stand out a bit, especially given the fact that he's now declared a Yonko. But yeah. So yeah, 3 billion each, and anyways, it does tie into, like, Luffy's first bounty of 30 million, and his last bounty in the time skip of 300 million. Though it did increase to 400 million during, let's see, when we didn't realize and all that stuff. Now, I do find it, let's see, of course we know Kid, their crewmates are excited for it, but it's, but Appu, Killer, and Law all probably know that Kid is not happier with something, with the news that's gone off, with Killer and thinking what it's going to be, and, you know, they're saying, oh, this is going to be a problem. All that stuff, because he's not happy with the result. Anyway, with the chef, I do find it funny how he goes into such detail to make such this, let's see, fancy meal for, like, the Shogun and his guests and all that stuff, and put such work into it that it took 2 hours. Only to, when he's finally ready to serve everyone, they've all left except Jinbei. So props to Jinbei with his character being polite enough to say, let's see, thank you for the meal, I'll enjoy it, but let's see, I doubt he's going to eat all of it. Well, at least everyone else is serving, so that food's all going to go to waste unless Momo gives it to, unless Momo has it saved for later or given, like, to, like, the staff to enjoy. But heck, you know, the festival and all that stuff. But, you know, which is more fitting for, like, the Straw Hats, as they like to party and enjoy festivals. And I do like this, how excited Yamato is, and having the same facial reaction as Chopper does to Carhart and Candy, as this is his, like, first festival ever since, well, Kaido was so cruel to locking him up and all that stuff, and probably wouldn't even allow him to celebrate the festival. Or at least Yamato always misbehaved and got in trouble before. For that, I didn't want to celebrate the festival with, like, the Beast Pirates. But yeah, either way, this is the first Gentleman Festival and all that stuff. Anyway, I do like how Brock and Hiyori are singing together, though I'm surprised no one's going like, ah, Brock is a ghost and all that stuff. I do like that she's actually singing the song Moon Princess to, like, the crowd and all that stuff, her father's favorite song. And now that he no longer has to, you know, play in front of Orochi, she finally removed her mask and is smiling to everyone to hear, to celebrate her father and all that stuff, and all that stuff. And I just like how the crowd has no longer called her Konosaki and going like, Princess Hiyori! As they still see her as the most beautiful woman ever and all that stuff. Anyway, cutting to, like, Robin and Tengen and all that stuff. I do like how, let's see, there's an interesting bit of detail here where Robin becomes a bit confused about, let's see, how Tengen knew her name, even though I'm pretty certain he should have probably known about that when he gave the swords to Momo, and the Straw Hats and the samurai were planning their invasion of Onigashima, but could be she never told him the name and all that stuff. But yeah, I do like how they have a little chat about the doll collection with him thinking it's cute, but she doesn't think so. And that leading up to the fact that this was just this place is a hobby for him. And I do like that this chapter confirmed that yes, Robin has been searching for poneglyphs. So I'm not sure if this is the red one. I've heard that it's not, but who knows? But either way, Robin is reading a poneglyph, so we knew she was going to do that. I'm not sure if it's the same one that Brooke found, but yeah. As Tengo goes on, he's been in prison here several years, and he used to rule this plan, and it ends up revealing to be Koyoki Sakiuri, which was a big shock, but many people figured like this was going to be the case because the anime gave the Tenga persona and the Koyoki Sakura character and Odin's flashback the same voice actor, which led many to believe that Oda had told the staff that these two are the same people and all that stuff. So which led to the theory, and now those people are correct with the theory that it turned out to be the case. As he ends up, let's see, but yeah. Which did cause a bit of controversy because I think due to the poor text about the spoilers and all that stuff, people thought like, oh, he just left Wano to suffer and all that stuff, when it's actually the reason why, let's see, after being, but instead the reason being like, let's see, the reason that he has been, keeping his identity so long is that after being imprisoned and foolishly, underestimating Orochi, which allowed him to take power and all that stuff, being captured by them, and then being swapped in for fake so that Orochi could become, Shogun, leading to all the mess that has happened, including the death of his son, the destruction of Wano and all that stuff. He can never really show his face again, and by the time he managed to escape, Odin had already died, and the one was in a wasteland, so he could do nothing for it, and even contemplated on taking his own life. And as a result, due to the shame, he has no desire to tell Momonosuke who he is, though the vassals probably know who he is. But let's see, but it's like interesting because now we have someone besides Robin who can read the poneglyphs and can also make the poneglyphs and all that stuff, and know how to craft to make them, or at least carve the writing into them. So that means that the teachings of the Kozuki clans, designed, because they are the ones who, of course, designed the poneglyphs and all that stuff, that can now still be passed down to Momonosuke. Now, granted, I wonder how he's going to try and do that, because he doesn't want to reveal his identity to Momonosuke, but he might say that he might lie and say that before, Odin's father taught him the craftsmanship in case he died and all that stuff, before Odin came back and all that stuff. And in case Odin never came back, and now he's going to teach it to Momo, which he might, accept, though I wouldn't be surprised if the Scabbards some of the Scabbards may have a conversation with him and all that stuff, given what's happened and all that stuff. But yeah. But I have to admit, I do kind of feel for the guy. It's like, due to his blunder, Orochi took over, and by the time he has escaped, he finds out that his own son had died against the Beast Pirates. It must be hard, which I assume it must always be difficult to when a father outlives their son. All that stuff. But before, but I do find, Robin interrupts, though whether or not he would have commented, talked about maybe taking his own life now and all that stuff, though he's done it, many times. But Robin clearly just wants to get to the point with the things she wants to ask him, since, he's a Kozuki. He knows a lot of the secrets of Wano that maybe even others do not know, which was probably the reason why Orochi kept him alive. Maybe also why Kaido wanted him alive before he eventually escaped. Perhaps Orochi just kept him alive just to torment him. Robin gets a confirmation on something that surprised everyone, the fact that Pluton is not actually in Alabasta like we all thought, but actually in Wano. That stuff. The ancient weapon is here in Wano, and this is probably one of the reasons why let's see, Wano has probably been closed off borders to protect this ancient weapon from falling in the hands of like the world government and other forces. And this might also confirm probably one of the other reasons why Kaido maybe also was here in Wano, because the ancient weapon, you might have heard a rumor that the ancient weapon Pluton was here or not, but who knows. Granted, it would have been interesting to see if Robin did actually tell Crocodile where Pluton is, and it turns out it was actually in the turret of the Yonko, so makes you wonder how Crocodile would try to steal that weapon if he could. Or we have given up. But yeah, we get a confirmation. But anyway, we also finally get the full-on introduction of let's see, full appearance of Admiral Ryuko, and I do like the design and all that stuff. Let's see, hold on a sec. And from what I can understand from some information sources from like some manga sites and chapter notes, not the official one, is that Admiral Ryuko is based off of the apparently actor and music artist Hayada Yoshu, and the name apparently comes from a 1990 film called Running Guy, where he starred as a character there called Ryuko, who was a drunk, lecherous ronin of the same name. Apparently there was also actors that were also for inspiration of Kizaru and Fujitora as well. Apparently they're saving a prostitute named Oshin from being executed by a corrupt samurai. So it's interesting the fact that Oda must have clearly been a fan of this movie, to the fact that he based so many admirals off the actors who played this movie and all that stuff. Oh yeah, I should probably also mention that Guryenka's name from CP0 is apparently a painting, an infamous one from 1907 from Picasso, which named for a city at the Lesseps, in which was bombed by Nazis, and it's now become a symbol of anti-fascism and all that stuff. So yeah, we've got the full appearance of the Admiral, and let's see, and to show off his skill, he has easily defeated many of the beast pirates there, including Baku, and of course, two of the All-Stars, King and Queen, and it seems like he did it quite easily. Now, granted, we have no idea how much these two have recovered from their fights against Zoro and Sanji, but nevertheless, he defeats them, and for many, which is interesting, because I think there's been some debate about how strong the Admirals are, and whether or not the Yonko's commanders are close in range of their power, but it's clear that the gap is clearly a bit wider than we all seen, with him commenting how where someone in his rank can't lose the subordinates of a pirate captain and all that stuff. So it's probably confirmed that the admirals, which probably should be no surprise, are more close to the Yonko's power than they are the commanders of their crew's power. Not that the commanders can fight the admirals for quite a while, as we saw with Marco Jozu against Kizaru, Aokichi, and Akiyuno. So granted, clearly the admirals are more stronger. I mean, granted, it should be clear when Akiyuno fought at least 14 commanders at the same time, plus Crocodile, in order to fight, get after, to try and kill Straw Hat Luffy. But yeah, we end up also getting an idea more of his plant-like devil fruit abilities, in which vines from his fingers at least. And the vines can drain the life force out of people, as we see quite a few people suck dry, and including the booze, in which he thinks was too taste terrible and should have aged a bit more. But yeah, this probably gives a more idea of how he was able to survive his stomach thing, how he's able to survive not feasting for like 3 years. But anyway, due to his appearance and his green hair, apparently, at least from the teasers, though granted, it doesn't look much like the Charlotte from Lovely Arc. Let's see, some have theorized that given the sword he's wielding, which I think I heard it was the same sword that Sasuke wielded in part 2. The same style as sword, is the fact that he might actually be Zoro's father. And I wouldn't try to put past Oda to do it, though I'm not entirely convinced on this, but then again, as many remember knows, in the aftermath of the CP0 or Ernest Lobby arc, let's see, after the Straw Hats had their celebrations won and all that stuff, a very prominent Navy figure ended up arriving to arrest them. It turned out to be Luffy's own grandfather, Monkey D. Garp. So I wouldn't be surprised if that ended up being the case for Zoro. And this might lead to a lot of more speculations of who actually Straw Hats might fight in terms of admirals when the time comes, which I know many theorize that Zoro would fight Fujitora. It also probably helped the fact that opening 17 also showed them fighting. But now that might not be the case. If I had to guess now, maybe Law will fight Fujitora. Anyway, we get a bit of insight as well to like the animal's personality, and despite what some speculating that he might be around the same level as Justice as Fujitora, as he'd ignored Sakazuki's orders to try and take him out of Marine Jose and all that stuff. It turns out that he might be actually a fanboy of Sakazuki, if you will, or Myra. It helps to impress him by bringing in Straw Hat Luffy. And all that stuff to him and all that stuff, though. So I'm wondering if he might still be a Garp fan as well. But no, I think it's clearly Yakaninu, so he might follow that more type of justice, if you will. Absolute justice and all that stuff. Anyway, I do like how Luffy is just being the lead performer and celebrating the festival with everyone. It's interesting that we learn that no one knows who he is and all that stuff, but that given his fun personality, they say just lead on and all that stuff. I do like that we get an explanation. The reason why Joe Boy is regarded as the one that beat Kaido to the citizens here is because Luffy didn't want to be regarded as a hero, which fits in line with what we know of his character, especially with like arcs like Fishman Island, when he initially refused to follow Jinbei's lead in how to deal with things because he didn't want to become a hero to Fishman Island because, of his own logic, heroes share everything while he's a pirate and he wants all the meat to himself. So it's probably a similar mindset to here. But Momonosuke just smiles on and probably just thinks how noble Luffy is and all that stuff. I'm not trying to take credit on all that stuff and become the center of attention. Well, granted, he still is the center of attention, but for a different reason. And I do like how Kid is just really annoyed at the fact that Luffy ended up being declared a Yonko and trying to kill him, but Luffy, not realizing this, just wants to party with Jaggy, probably thinking that they're friends, but he's clearly annoyed as everyone celebrates. But yeah, I do like how we got pictures of everyone celebrating. But the biggest note I want to note is that Kimino has been reunited with his wife after so long, in which her fate remains unknown since she tried to take the blame against Hundum for what happened to all their supplies and all that stuff. As we know that the town was burnt to the ground, though I am curious to see what has happened to Hundum. I wonder if he's among the prisoners in Udon, in which he'll probably get the justice if the admiral ends up sucking him. No, I'm pretty certain that he'll probably be still alive, because I think he did call a Navy ship, and I'm pretty certain that he's bringing all the beast pirates in, which does make it lead the question to what has happened to the majority of the beast pirates who defected. Were they all there in Udon as well? I can't imagine. I think the ones that at least switch sides are probably out celebrating the festival, or at least live now have left one on all that stuff. I'm not sure. Oda, I think, needs to confirm because the Straw Hat's got a 6,000 additional allies during the raid and all that stuff. So I assume that they've all either left and now going to form their own pirate crews, keeping an eye on the prisoners in Udon, maybe the same with like Bakukuri there, or out celebrating the festival with everyone else. But who knows? I would like some confirmation, as I'm wondering what's going to happen to them now. Part of me wonders if they will just decide to become part of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet and all that stuff. But yeah, I do like how Luffy. It's interesting that Luffy has the same shocked eye thing from when he does like his Gear 5 form. So I'm wondering if that's now become a permanent shock reaction to him and all that stuff. But I do like how. But also, Poetry should probably comment. I do like how, despite the fact that their captain is mad, the Kid Pirates are just enjoying the festival. Well, granted, we see Lord's crew finally arrive at the festival, but we don't see Lord there, so I wonder if let's see how he's going to react to this. The fact that, of course, Luffy has been declared an emperor. And when this happened, many people who a chapter or so earlier, despite the fact that the most popular fear is that Kid was going to become an emperor or Law, given the fact they took down Big Mom. But some are probably theorizing, given the fact that Volume 25 had a cover of the 4 Emperor of like Buggy, Shanks, Blackbeard, and Luffy, and some random dude, which I can't recall if it's a character that appeared in the thing or just someone random that Oda drew. I don't know, I need to reread that volume at some point. I'm currently in East Blue Saga rereading all that stuff from that bit. As that volume was foreshadowing the fact that those 4 individuals would each become Yonko. And Luffy's just shocked by it, but it's leading to many people wondering how on earth Buggy became a Yonko. Although some saying that, granted, some were so upset that they seemed to like, oh, I'm quitting One Piece. Or like, oh, the Yonko have now become a joke, which I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, as I'm pretty low it led to much debate, but I think like the warlords, the Yonko might become obsolete once the One Piece treasures now become founded and all that stuff. So there's that. But yeah, but I can probably see some, but I have, so those who like this revelation, I can see how it can make sense with the fact that, given the fact that Buggy has been associated with so many famous people such as Roger, Shanks, Rayleaf, he's regarded as the mastermind behind Imperial Down and all that stuff, teamed up with Whitebeard and all that stuff, created a powerful pirate crew with the Buggy's delivery service. He got a lot of, more business with after Doflamingo's defeat and all that stuff, due to all this, and not to mention has a very loyal pirate armada, even with the loss of giants. He has the 4 horses and the numbers to back it up, and not to mention with some theorizing that now Shanks has probably talked to the Gorosei of making about a certain pirate being Buggy, has led them to declare him a Yonko and all that stuff. And that's why he is now one of the 7 emperors over someone like Kid and Law, who don't have subordinates, which is probably also why Luffy became an emperor before them, because, well, he defeated Kaido one-on-one, and not to mention the fact that he has a grand fleet of 5,600 forces. I wouldn't be surprised that during the time Luffy has spent in Wano, they've gone about making name for themselves, recruiting more recruits and all that stuff, and taking over territories, as that's what we saw Bartolomeo do unintentionally to Shanks, not realizing that Shanks is the pirate Luffy admires, and not to mention, I really did see Columbus, attacking an island and all that stuff, only to give supplies to a poor village. I wouldn't be surprised if he declared this area in the name of Luffy and all that stuff, so you might see that as well. More territories have been declared for Luffy under the direction of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet and all that stuff, so there's that. But who knows? But now the fact that both Luffy and Buggy are emperors, their fight back in Orangetown arc will now be probably the first clash we've seen between Yonko, and I wouldn't be surprised, what many are probably guessing, is that their fate will now be regarded as a legendary battle between two powerful pirates, even though it was more comedic, with like Luffy kicking Buggy in the groin. Well, this does lead to question how on earth Buggy managed to escape. Let's see, the Marines that were sent to get him since, let's see, hold on, let me just, as the, let's see, Vice Admiral that was sent to get him. Let's see the name of this admiral. The admiral's name, let's see, as we last seen, Vice Admiral Stainless. No, let's see, admiral with a sort of mustache. One of the Navy admirals who that was there at Marineford, or no, granted, he appeared in chapter 96 with Logtown when Luffy's bounty was first declared, being strangled by Doflamingo with the string fruit and all that stuff. Or at least a recurring admiral who was there at Marineford was there to send Buggy, so now people are wondering how on earth did Buggy escape the Marine Admiral and how many of his followers escaped, because clearly he was going to use them as a distraction to why he'd leave. How on earth did he escape to become and declared a Yonko? It does make people wonder what's happened to the rest of the warlords that were there. As some have probably figured they've all been captured, probably because animals were sent to get them, though. Not entirely convinced by this, as I'm pretty certain Hawkeye needs to probably survive until he has his, like, let's see, rematch against Zoro, so he can finally declare himself best swordsman. And all that stuff, so, yeah. So, yeah, we have now 4 emperors, and one of them at least has a bounty of 15 million, though I wouldn't be surprised if it's been increased to massive numbers. I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually even higher than Luffy's and Blackbeard's. I wonder if Blackbeard's bounty has possibly increased, because currently you've got Kid and Law and Luffy, whose bounties are higher than him, but I wouldn't be surprised if whatever incident he did that he wouldn't let the Marines get their hands on increased his bounty more to the level of Shanks and all that stuff. So, but yeah. So who knows? Maybe even Buggy's bounty will also be extremely high, with his reputation being over-exaggerated again. But now that's the fact that he's become a Yonko. People now theorizing that he might end up being the Pirate King either before Luffy or after, and he finds the One Piece first. But that might be a bit of a stretch. Who knows? But due to the fact that Oda has shown such favoritism towards Buggy, and many theorized that, who were fans of his, that it would be one of the warlords and then a Yonko, and now all he needs to do now is become Pirate King. Granted, let's say Luffy doesn't really want to be a Yonko, and he wants to be the Pirate King. I can see probably how some saying like, "Oh, Buggy becomes the Pirate King of Luffy, outrageous! I'm quitting." But I'm pretty certain that Luffy will, of course, at some point be the Pirate King. Whether or not people become the Pirate King before him or after remains to be seen. But I am certain it's going to become, let's see, the Pirate King. Kind of like how eventually, regardless of whether or not, let's see, the story didn't really focus on it too much, particularly towards the end. Well, more towards Sasuke at least. Naruto did become Hokage in the end, even though some feel like the role doesn't really suit him now. But given the fact that it's a goal, that's one of the things that Shonen Jump mangas try to do, is the fact that they have their main protagonists reach their goal of being this title, this leader, or whatever, because, well, that's the target demographic for Shonen, to inspire young boys and youngsters and youths everywhere that they can accomplish their goals and all that stuff. But who knows? But anyway, as we probably get Luffy's shocked reaction and then all the questions to it later and all that stuff, it seems that our friends might be in trouble, as Ryoku is heading towards the capital to capture Straw Hat Luffy, and annoyed about the mess that they've left him in, as there's no time to celebrate because, well, the whole world's a mess due to her actions. And as we see, interesting that we also seen from Udon, where he seems to walk plant life grounds, which has probably helped Wano massively in restocking probably all the wildlife that they've probably lost due to the toxic, dumping of the beast pirates over the last 2 decades. But yeah, I do like the fact that, despite Luffy not getting the bounty I expected and the Yonko not expected, I loved every detail of this chapter. The new decoration of the Yonko with the long-term foreshadowing of a volume. The fact that Pluton is here in Wano. The jokes and all that stuff. The full-on introduction of Ryoku and all that stuff. And all the stuff that it implies. So yeah, this is a hype chapter, and this is definitely one that Oda probably definitely deliberately left to 4 weeks to fans to discuss, because he probably realized how some people would react and how they would discuss and all that stuff. So yeah, probably fitting that that the Yonko would be declared in a 4-week hiatus instead of just like the end of the arc, as this is probably more exciting to leave as a cliffhanger for 4 weeks. So yeah, overall, I think I'll give this chapter a 10 out of 10. It was perfect. The introductions, and the confirmations of where Pluton is. The introduction of the final Admiral Ryoku, the return of, Oden Momo's grandfather, the bounties that that the members of the captains of the Worst Generation got, 3 billion each and all that stuff, and the decoration of Yonko, as well as everyone celebrating and the reuniting and all that stuff. But yeah, which is probably the only reason why Kimimon was still alive and not dead, is to reunite with his wife, which I suppose is touching, though I always expected that Kimimon was going to die just after he had reunited with his wife. So stuff like that. But yeah, we clearly are now in the end game. We just got a few more chapters left of Wano, probably. And then we're on the final saga. How long the final saga will last, I don't know. My guess is Oda wants to try and get it done for 2027, as that'll be the 30th year anniversary. But it could easily go on to 10 years and all that stuff. Maybe even in between, depending on how Oda tries to pace it and all that stuff. Granted, Oda has apparently been many comment that Oda's been pacing quite quickly here. But regardless, but then again, Wano was supposed to be a mega arc and all that stuff. And there's still a lot of things for Oda to coverage in the final saga, like Vegapunk, Shanks, Elbaf, the remaining members of the Worst Generation, etc. Overall, I've enjoyed this chapter. I am Blue Star Saber, signing off. If you listened to my review and my thoughts on that stuff, thank you for listening to so long towards the end of this. I hope you have a lovely day and all that stuff. I am now Blue Star Saber, signing off. Goodbye, everyone.